All right, welcome you guys. Thank you for joining us on this Sunday evening. And for those of you that are going to be watching the replay, hello to you too. We appreciate you watching this. We have an awesome night ahead. You guys have heard from me time and time again on how to maximize these events. But sometimes it just takes somebody else sharing the same thing, right? And then finally it clicks. So I'm bringing Janet on with us tonight. She's been doing my events for quite some time now, and she has success in them. And so I reached out to her and just asked her, would you be open to doing this training for our community? Share with them all the things that you do to have successful events. And of course, she said yes. So that's why we are here tonight. So I would love for you guys to pop in the chat for me. How often do you guys do online events? Whether it's with me or another coordinator, I'm just curious, how often do you do them? That will just give us a little bit of context as well. So just pop that in there. There's a lot of moving parts to online events to make them successful. And it's not just about posting and praying and hoping that you get that order, right? That maybe 3 years ago, we could have done that. But now it's all about connecting and serving and supporting and following up and keeping track of who is on your list, right? And so we're going to chat about that tonight. So now what I would love for you guys to do is put in the comments, what do you feel is one of the hardest parts of online events to help you maximize them? Maybe you got to think about that for a minute. But again, this will kind of just give us some idea. And then we want to make sure that we touch on that tonight as well. So, so kind of, it doesn't have to be in a question form, but just drop something in the chat. Where do you feel you could use some guidance? What do you feel is missing, right? For you to feel like you've really gotten everything that you could from that event. Thank you guys for popping that in there. All right, so as we get started tonight, I just want to make sure that you stay on all the way till the end, as I do have a special offer for you guys to help you get a discount on my events that some of you may want to grab because maybe you're looking to add some events in. If not, no worries. It's just there for those that are ready to book an event or want some more guidance with their events as well. So stay on with us. And of course, we'll do some, question and answer as well. I know there was a couple people that either emailed me or popped in the group in the comments of the post and put some things in there as well. So let's get started. All right. You guys ready for this? Who's excited? Let me see some happy, excited faces. All right. Sounds good. So Janet's going to get started. And Janet, I would love for you to first share with these ladies why do you choose to do my events? What about my events has helped you become more successful in doing them? Because there's a lot of events out there. A lot of people run them from free to up to $30 an event. I've seen like every price point. So why do you choose mine?
Okay, so I love this question because I got burned at the beginning doing vendor events. So my experience real quick with direct sales, I'm in my second company where I'm very focused, and this is like what I do for my living, right? So during my first company, I mostly just did online parties. I would throw them myself. And I did one vendor event with that company and I got burned. It was a terrible experience. And I took notes and I was so skeptical to do them again. And a friend of mine had been inviting me to Tiffany's events for a while, and I'm a customer of hers. So I'd go in there and cheer her on and, order and all the things. And after a while, because she had been doing Tiffany's events for probably about a year, I watched. And I just had to ask her, like, how are these events going? And, she was saying that she was consistently adding to her network. And, as direct sellers or entrepreneurs, that's usually always our biggest struggle is how do we keep adding people to our network and people that are raising their hands wanting to purchase, right? I mean, sometimes you can go on social and be posting and you can start conversations, but how do you actually find people that want to buy your product? And so, you know, I trusted her and I started doing Tiffany's events, and the experience was so different. It was night and day from that first vendor event that I had done where I got burned. And there are a couple things that Tiffany does different. The first thing I noticed is that she's actually offering genuine support. Like, she gives you so many tips and tools. She gives you a script for inviting. And then she does calls, weekly calls on Mondays. So there's true support. When I've looked into doing vendor events with other people, they don't offer the same type of, you know, coaching and support. And they might be coaches, so they might offer those types of, you know, services that you can pay for, but they're not willing to help you for free to get through your event and be successful. So that right there is something that is totally different that Tiffany does compared to other people. The second thing I noticed that was totally different was that she doesn't let us use the invite button. So you have to, you know, reach out to people personally and invite them. You have to use permission marketing, which is the best form of marketing. You know, and it goes along with the trends of creating connection. Like, we need to ask people first if they want to be a part of the event. We don't want to be spammy. Nobody wants to be spammy, and nobody wants to be spammed or sold to. And you know, once in a while, I'll accept an invitation that somebody I know has clicked that button. But I know a lot of people that won't even, they just will not accept those. They just delete them, ignore them, whatever, but they're not going to be a part of the event that way. And I really liked that about Tiffany's events, that she was like, nope, you're going to go out there and invite people personally, which I knew was the right way to do it anyways. But I just thought, how cool that she is having everyone in the event do it that way. And, you know, her events, they may not be huge, like, you know, they're 200 to 300 people. So that's still a good number, but they're not like some of these groups that are 500 plus people in there. But it is quality over quantity. Like, the people that are in Tiffany's events, they want to be there. They have already raised their hand, and, you know, they've asked to be a part of the event. So they're already warmed up to seeing what we have. Do you want to add something, Tiffany?
Yes, I do. I want to give you guys just a few spots and things to she mentioned, like, I have some messages and resources to help you with the invites, because that's kind of a stressful piece, right? And I really wanted Janet to you know, really share tonight on how does she get her people in, because I love what you said, permission marketing. I actually never heard of it said that way, right? Do you guys love that? So I actually got a message today to get invited to somebody's online party, and it had a message and it had the link to the group with it. Okay, so I want to touch on this here for a second, because I think this is very important. So when she said permission marketing, she meant asking, right? Like, asking the question, expect, like, in Messenger, right? If you know, if they're open to attending, versus what I find, the people that struggle to get their invites in, because I'll always help anybody that's struggling. Okay, like, I reach out throughout the week to help see where you're at. And, you know, I'm asking questions like, what's the message you've sent? What did you post in your group? Right? All of those things. And I know some people take that like, why are you so up in my face, and help, you know, making sure that I do this, and right. But it's really coming from a place of support to help you. Because if you can learn now inside of my events, just like Janet has, of how to best invite, you can take that skill set and use that for your own personal parties, for your VIP group, right? Because it's not just these online events where you don't want to use that invite button. It's everything on Facebook, right? So I wanted to point out a resource for you guys if you don't have it. If you have boards, the boards app, I do have a board. It's called Create Success. Okay. If you guys don't have that, send me a private message in Messenger right now. Or if you're watching the replay, you can do it as you're watching this, and I will send you the link to this Create Success board. There's a folder in there with invite tips. There's actual PM messages. There's a link that goes to a post inside of my Create Success group with kind of, I think there's 5 maybe tips in there. And so reference this here, okay, for tips on inviting. I recently did an event with another coordinator for my business. So I was in the position of having to invite, and I know how stressful that is, you guys. Okay, I get it. And so my other tip is not to wait until Monday when the event comes or when the group comes to be like, okay, now let's start inviting, right? Like, that's why I create the chat ahead of time on Thursdays. Now, I actually used to create them on Fridays. Now I create it on Thursday just to give you those few days to like, because some people forget that they're in the event because we don't organize our calendar, right? And then, give you some tips through there to help you. Okay, now let's use the weekend to find those people that say yes. And when they're like, yeah, I'll join, be like, great, I'll get you the group when it comes on Monday. Right? Cool. So Janet, if you want to add any other tips to that invite
Oh
process,
yeah,
and anybody else
absolutely.
too, if you guys have tips that work for you, feel free to share them in the comments here, or message me individually on what works for you, and I can always add it to the board, because guess what? If you have something that works and it's going to help everybody, it's going to bring more people into the group, which benefits you, right? So don't feel like, oh my gosh, like this is my secret, right? Because it doesn't benefit to share something in that space that works to, help everybody. So Janet, if you want to share your secrets, go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I'm not positive if I got your invite script from the board you just mentioned, but probably. Is that the one that you share in the vendor chat at the beginning? You, you share
Possibly.
the Create Success. But I know
No,
you
so
have a
I do share
board
it.
that
Yeah.
has invite tips.
Yep.
Okay.
That's, yep, a
So
little bit
in
different.
that one, this is the other thing that's gold, you guys. So she has a script in there and it speaks to different personality types. So if you I see a couple people have bank codes, so you guys are familiar. If you don't know what these little letters are, like by our names, you need to hop in the masterclass and learn about it, because it is invaluable when you understand that there are different personality styles and that people perceive information different ways. They need information to make decisions in different ways. And it's fascinating, and it helps in every step of what we do. But this script is bankified, so it speaks to each of the 4 personality styles. And, at first I saw the script and I went, oh, like this invite script is really long. Usually I send really short, brief messages. And so I was a little bit apprehensive, but I thought, you know what, let's give it a go and see what happens. And it was very, very well received. I had more responses to that invite script than I ever have before. And so I just knew that there was something to it, that I actually was speaking to people and they were hearing. I was getting everyone's attention. And I will tell you, the more that I use Bank and the more that I try to adapt my messaging to speak to a broader audience and not just the people that have a similar personality style to me, I have a lot less ghosts, a lot less crickets. I have a lot more responses. So it definitely has helped me in the DMs when I'm messaging, and specifically when I'm working on invites. And Tiffany mentioned not sharing the link. And I will tell you, I had to try it out, and I used the bankified message with a link for one event, and it was awful. It was a terrible thing to do. And I thought, it might capture the action people because they'll have the link right away and they can just hop in. And what it ended up doing for me is it made it almost impossible for me to follow up with people and get them in the group, because I sent the link right away and I didn't have them ask me for it. I had no idea from my big list who I had sent this message to, I had no idea who was genuinely interested in the event and who was not, who was going to pass on it. And so from then on, I decided, go back, don't use the link, ask them for the link. And that has helped me tremendously with my invites, because then the people, say they don't reply to the message, or they're not interested, fine. A lot of people will say yes to it, and then I know, okay, send them the link. And then when those people, and I keep track of my invites on a piece of paper. I do use a spreadsheet tracker that Tiffany gave me that's phenomenal, and I'm going to share more about that in a minute. But specifically when I'm doing these invites, I'm a pen and paper, and that way I know exactly who I'm going out to invite them to the event. And I'm going to share too how I build my list that I go out to. But I use pen and paper, and when somebody asks me for the link and they don't join the group, I keep track of all of that. And so I can go back, as we progress through our invites and I'm seeing who's in the group and who's not, I know specifically who I need to go back to and say, hey, the event starts tomorrow. Here's the link again. And then I can share the link, or at least follow up with this specific group of people who already raised their hand. They already said yes to the event. They just didn't have a chance to click on the button, or maybe they thought they did and they forgot. I know that happens to me because I get invited to a lot of things too. And I don't mind those reminders. Like I already told my friend, yeah, I want to be in there. And they're just reminding me, oh yeah, you said yes, hop in. So that helps a ton. Let's see if I think I shared that already. And then my other tip for getting my invites, because the whole purpose of what we're talking about today is how we use these events to close sales. So I'm going to share a little bit of my strategy with my invite list that helps me to close sales, because I do add to my network from every single event, but I don't close every customer during that week that we're in the event. And that's totally fine, right? People need to hear things a few times. It's very unlikely that you're going to meet somebody and that they're going to purchase from you right away during that event. Like, there are so many statistics that have to do with marketing and how many times people need to hear a message from you, that it is a-okay if you just get them down on your tracker and you start the conversation or you start a process with them, and that they don't purchase from you that week. That's totally fine. So I keep track of all this in my tracker. And when I'm making my invite list, I always start with my potential customers, the people, my warmest leads, the people that are getting the closest to making a purchase with me. I write their names down first. The next people that I add to my list are my team, because of course they're going to support me, but I'm in network marketing and I lead a team, and everything I do it so that it's duplicatable. So I want them to see what I'm doing. I want them to have access to my posts if they'd like to use them. Everything that I do, I'm trying to coach my team at the same time so that they can see what I'm doing and they can do what I'm doing and get, hopefully get the same results. So I add my team on there. Then I add my current customers, because not only are they going to support me, but they're the people that are ordering from me every month. So, they're still learning about the products. Maybe they've only used 2 things and we sell several things. So if I invite my current customers into the event group, then they're learning about the products, because they too need to hear things several times before, they're going to add on to what they're using or maybe try a different product. So I do add my current customers, and then I have a lot of friends that I've talked to about my current company that are not interested in my business, and that's totally fine. But a lot of them like to support other direct sellers. And so they, if I'm still working on my list, I'm still trying to get people in the event, then the 4th category that I add are my friends that are not my customers, but they might be somebody else's customers. So I will add them. And that's kind of how I build my list out. And that's been helping me to get the right people in the event, so that I have people cheering me on. I have people purchasing from the other vendors, which they absolutely do, because I see my customers' names popping up, getting thanked by other vendors. That's the other part of what we do and why these vendor events work, because we are all bringing our networks to meet other vendors. So, it's like you have to be a part of that, and you got to think about other people too when you're doing these events. So that's how I build my invite list out. And what I'm finding is that because I'm getting a lot more yeses and inviting the right people, I don't necessarily need to invite every single person to, I do events once a month, and I don't need to invite them all to every single event. And so like this month, I'm actually doing 2 events because I can break up the invites and I don't need to invite the same people to both events, if that makes sense. So if you can build up your network and build up your list, you can do several events in the same month and not be burning people out.
You guys, I just want to point something out. You're probably seeing this, but I think this is a huge, huge piece of why Janet has success with these events and especially with the invite process is you can just hear her positivity, her mindset, right, throughout this. And this truly is who she is. She's not showing up like this tonight just to show up, in front of you guys like this. Like she always has this positive mindset around how she's working her business and knowing that not everybody's going to be a yes. Not everybody's going to order with inside of the event at that time, but knowing that the work that she does today and the connections that she makes, the communication that she has, the follow-up that she does, right, is going to get her success in the future. Okay. A lot of people that kind of struggle with the events, I see a huge difference in the mindset and the attitudes, right, that they have compared to the people that have more success. So I just want to throw that out there because mindset is a huge, huge piece of having success in your business. As you heard her say, she doesn't have a scarcity mindset either of like, oh my gosh, they're going to buy from somebody else, so they're not going to buy from me, right? I love that you track your invites. If you guys, have done any coaching with me, you know that tracking is a huge piece of what is needed in order to succeed in your business. And if you use a Google Sheets tracker, like I recommend, you can have a little tab at the bottom, invite for events, and you can track that or, do some paper pencil, but I recommend, moving that to the Google tracker. And that's huge. So you know who you're inviting, but then the next time as well, you can invite some different people or whatnot. So thank you for it. I appreciate that. Did you have anything else around the invites that you wanted to share?
That's all I had for invites. So we can move on. You can ask me another question. I know some people were asking about engagement, and I have lots of notes on that too for
Yes,
posting.
I did see that in the comments that some of you, it's the posts, right? How do I create posts that then get comments? Because once you have comments, then that's when you can start to connect, right? So I always recommend post to connect versus post to sell, right? And so I'll let Janet share what she does around posting.
Okay, so I learned a lot of tips and tricks from Tiffany. And then since I've been doing events for a while, I've played around with it and kind of figured out this kind of this formula that works for me for getting engagement. And the best tip that Tiffany has is starting your post with an engaging question and to have that be the top thing. So when you have a post, sometimes you can see only the first like top 2 lines of your post. Sometimes it's like 5 or 6 you can see, but most of the time you can only bet on like the top 2 lines are what people see as they're scrolling. So I kind of look at this engaging question as a hook. Like if you guys do reels or other type of posts online, you're like, okay, what's my hook? Because you have like a split second to capture someone's attention. So I really look at this engaging question as my hook. And this is my tip, you guys. I don't always write this question for my potential customers or my new friends. I write this question to be an easily answered question by my fellow vendors in the event, because we are all engaging on each other's posts. So I try to make this question be, related to the topic I'm talking about in my post, but general enough and where it requires a very fast response, but something general enough where any vendor coming through the event and, we're bumping each other's posts, but I really write the question for you guys, for the vendors, so that as you see it, you're like, oh, I can answer on the, I can help her. I can answer this question real quick. And I will give you one little tip, and I think I was going to share this later, but I'll talk about it now. But don't count out fellow vendors as potential customers. Like, yes, we shouldn't be relying on each other. That's not the purpose of the events. We want to broaden our networks, but we all sell different products and services. We can support each other. So don't count people, don't count the vendors out or feel discouraged if you only see vendors commenting on your posts. Okay, so the first thing is that engaging question. The second thing are the graphics, because between those two things, that's what's going to stop the scroll, because you have to have something that's going to capture people's attention. So keeping your graphics very simple, like Tiffany always suggests four pictures or less. I do either 2 or 4, but I'll have it where one picture is kind of a larger picture. Usually it's a lifestyle image of the product. This isn't like an infographic where it's explaining too much about the product. Sometimes I'll have a graphic that has like some quick bullet points about it. And this is something where I have changed my strategy, because when I first started writing these posts, I would do a picture that I felt like an action personality would gravitate towards, and I would have that be like on the left side, and then I'd have a more informative picture on the right side to capture the other personality types, like a knowledge person like me that really wants to dive in and know all the ingredients in my product and stuff like that. And as I've been getting to know people, I'm learning that even knowledge people and blueprints, they don't always want to know every single ingredient that's in the product. And that is definitely something that I can share with someone once they're already interested. I can share that privately in direct message. So, if you feel like you need to explain everything about your product in these posts, you really don't. You're truly just trying to stop the scroll and start a conversation. So if your strategy is based around just doing those two things, then once you get into comments, then you can lean into the DMs, and then you can share the information. And I even use permission marketing once I get in the DMs, and I will ask, would you rather watch a video on this product or read an info sheet? And that has helped tremendously too, because people like to digest content and information in different ways. And people always love being asked their permission, right? So that has been very helpful with my response rate. So when I'm asking somebody a simple question, like, how would you prefer to learn about this product? And then they can tell me, and then, I send them the information the way they want to see it. And then when I go to follow up, it's usually a much better conversation. I'm getting less crickets, less ghosts. It's very good. But yeah, back to the graphics. So you also want, like, one thing that I like to do is I will use separate graphics rather than doing like a picture collage, especially if there's any type of words or, a little description of the product, or say I have like a product testimony written in there. And the reason why I use the separate graphics is so that people can zoom in on them. So if you're trying to make it easier to post or easier to put up, and you just have one graphic that shows, like, say it's a collage, it's really hard to zoom in sometimes on information that way. And so I like to use separate graphics so that people can click on them individually and zoom in and read everything. And then as far as content, I really try to think about the different personality types. Like, this is where I stop for a minute and I think about how different personalities will perceive information and what they need, because people that like to make decisions quickly, they want the bottom line. They don't want all the information. They're not going to probably even read your entire post. And so people that digest information that way, people that want the bottom line, I'm going to give them what they need at the top of the post. Like, yes, I'm going to have my engaging question, my hook, and then right after that, it is going to be a quick summary about my product so that they know right away what it is I'm talking about. And the people like me, the knowledge people, the blueprints that are going to take a little bit more time and they need a little bit more information, then I will put, the more details about it further down in the post, because I know that those personality types, as long, like once I've captured their attention and they want to learn about it, they're a lot more likely to continue reading, if that makes sense, you know? And so that information I will put further down on the post. And again, I don't go into a ton of detail, but the product that I sell has really, really incredible ingredients and they have incredible benefits. And so sometimes it makes sense to bullet point a couple of the ingredients and their benefits. But, you know, I just put it further down in the post itself because I know that that's not going to stop somebody's scroll. That's like the, oh, okay, you got me. Now I want to learn a little bit more. You know, they'll click the see more, they'll scroll down. So that's how I kind of formulate the content that I'm writing in there.
Awesome. This is awesome.
And
You
let's
guys,
see if
is
there's
this good?
anything else.
Is this good? Are you guys liking this? Very helpful, right? I'm liking it because I
Yeah.
don't have to train. Like Janet does it all. Like she knows. I'm just sitting back here listening. Like I love when somebody can like, you know, reshare everything that I've taught. So a couple of things that I want to point out, and I think Jen pointed it out in the chat as well. I love what you said about, you know, when you're connecting with that person is, you know, how do you want to best learn, right? How would you like this information shared with you? And especially, you know, if you don't use the personality science stuff, and this call is not, you know, to really share that, but as you can see, Janet really has, you know, adapted that into her business because it truly is helpful. But you can ask that person, right? Would you like a short video? You know, would you like a PDF or some written information? You know, can I send you a voice message to better explain it? Right? That's really serving somebody in a way that matters to them when you're really asking, you know, what works best for them because everybody loves, you know, something different. So Janet, when people are now commenting on your post, so you're getting some replies, what do you do now? I see some people are wondering, what do we do with those comments?
Okay, so this is my tip. And okay, so I took what Tiffany's tip is, which is to validate their comment and then to ask a question. And I'll be honest, I don't always ask a question. I'm very like cautious to kind of, I don't want to appear like super pushy or like I'm immediately trying to jump into the DMs with every single person that comments. Like I really try to not seem that aggressive. So early on in the event, I might just validate or just continue a conversation very lightly and not, you know, jump right into like, oh, is that what you're looking for? Or do you need help with that? Like, I don't, you know, I don't jump into that right off the bat. Um, I'm also very cautious when I'm replying back to vendors because I know I've written this engaging question to get a lot of comments. And so I know that not every single person is interested in my product. So again, I'm like, I'm pretty cautious and kind of feel it out. But if I see a vendor that is, you know, commenting a lot, or sometimes they'll just say, oh, I need help with that. Like they're telling me they need help. Well, then I'm going to jump in and make sure that I'm validating what they're saying and that I'm following up with the question. And I always ask permission before I go into Messenger, always. My other tip with Messenger is to send a friend request when you're messaging. I usually send a friend request like as I'm sending that initial message. I know that it's probably still going to end up in their message request folder. But if they accept your friend request right away, I think that message will pop up in their regular chat like quickly, like more quickly. It won't just be hidden in this folder. So I do try to send a friend request, and it's really just so that my message will be seen. Not everybody accepts, but those that do, it does make it a lot easier to communicate in Messenger. And yeah, really just continuing the conversation, like asking questions throughout the event. And you know, as we're closing in the on the event, and I have my tracker and I know who's like more interested or less interested, you know, you can kind of feel it out as the days of the event go on. The people that seemed more interested, but I'm not in Messenger yet, I might just go back to like a comment of theirs from an earlier post and then ask, another question or ask a question. Like maybe I didn't ask them a question from the beginning because I wasn't sure. They're a vendor. I didn't want to seem pushy, but they're continuing to comment on my post and say that they have a need or whatever. So I might go back and, ask, oh, on my tracker. Yes. Okay. So when I'm inviting, okay. So going back to that, I have my big list of people. I check mark when I've sent the invite. Then I check mark who has said yes, who I've sent the link to, and then I track who's in the group. So I have a few columns. And you can use a spreadsheet for that too. I'm not always sitting in front of my computer. Sometimes I'm at the doctor's office with my kids, and it's easier for me just to pull out a piece of paper and, work on my invite because I have 4 kids and I'm running around like crazy. So that's another reason why I do it on paper. But yeah, I have a few columns so that I know where people are at in the invite process, and I can, hop in and follow up and make sure that they are getting into the event when they've said yes.
Awesome. Janet, do you want to share, since we're kind of talking about the tracker, do you want to share about just now tracking your prospects, like the people that you're connecting with and moving them through kind of that success plan, your funnel?
Yeah, absolutely. So guys, if you do not have Tiffany's tracker, I cannot say enough good things about it. But when I did her sales masterclass and I got the free tracker, it was honestly, it made a night and day difference in my business. Like the tracker itself and being organized with who's on my list, where they're at in my process. And I've been able to adapt her tracker, and I'll tell you in a second kind of some of the things that I put on there. But once I was able to do that, I took my, let's see, my sales velocity. So the time that I meet somebody to the time that they make a purchase, I was averaging about 90 days. And now I'm more like 45 to 60. So basically, I'll meet somebody in an event, and then usually my next month event is when they make a purchase. So I've definitely like closed the gap on that, and I'm able to close sales much faster. I did close a sale as quickly as 9 days, which I was amazed. And this was a brand new person that I just met, from the time I met them to the time they made a purchase, 9 days. And I was like, wow, this is incredible.
And Janet sells health and wellness products. Just for reference, she sells health and wellness products, which can take a little bit more time. Some of you might be thinking like, oh my gosh, like that seems like a long time, right? Like I can close sales, in a day. But hers are, a bigger purchase. It's a lifestyle change. So it takes a little bit more time.
Absolutely. And, if people are apprehensive about supplements or what they're using and clean products, it takes longer. But yeah, I have been able to shorten that time a lot. And on Tiffany's tracker, so the first thing on there is, people's bank code and understanding their personality. So another thing that sets Tiffany's events apart from other vendors is that she does ask this question in the membership questions. So once you're a moderator of the group, you can go in to somebody's profile within the group, and you can see at least what their first, profile, their first code is. And then there's another post in the group where they look at all 4 and they can, basically give you their whole bank code in what order. So then, their secondary and the third personality code as well. And all of that is super important when you're building connection, because once you know more about their personality style, then you really know what they need. If somebody's an action person, that they want the bottom line and they don't want to waste time. If someone's a nurture, then you really need to let them know like how this is going to help them, how you are going to help them and offer that support. So knowing that is very important for kind of how you follow up and the things that you say. So that is the first thing on the tracker. And then for me, it's really important to know my potential customers' pain point or what they need help with. So, with health and wellness, especially, I mean, if you're in a different product, you'd probably just want to know what they're looking for, or, you would have a different set of questions. But for me, I like to know, what their health goals are. And so I created a very quick wellness assessment. That's what I call it. And it's just a Google form. It asks a handful of questions, doesn't take long to fill it out, but it lets me know what their health goals are. A little bit about their like product preferences, if they like drink mixes or they like capsules. And sometimes you need to know about allergies too. It's important. Anyways, that's just health and wellness specifically, but it helps me to know really what their pain point is so that as I'm following up with them, I can be very specific and build that connection. A lot of people are on a weight loss journey. And so when I'm following up with them after the event, I can ask them, how are you doing with this health goal? Like, have you found something that you're getting results from, or are you still looking for something? So it helps me to ask more like of those connection questions to keep the relationship going. It's not just, like a generic question, a generic follow-up question, if that makes sense. Like I can be very personalized because I have information from them. So that's the first thing. And then I track things like samples that I send out, what products or what information I've sent them, and what groups they have joined. So I have a VIP group with my team. And then I have a customer group, like with our company, a big customer group. And so I track those two groups and I use them. They serve different purposes. And so I track, people getting into those groups and I have it on there.
I want to point out a couple of things, Janet, while you're looking at your tracker to see if there's any.
Yeah.
So she mentioned about a form. I talk about this in my training as well as, you can go back and forth in Messenger and ask questions of people because I teach in part of your success plan, a part of your connecting and, getting to that point of getting that sale is you want to gather information from them, right? It's not just about somebody raising their hand and being like, okay, I'm interested, tell me what you have, and you send them your link to order, right? Like we want to get to know who they are. We want to know what does your product do for them? What problems does it solve? And so the best way to gather some information, kind of quickly and easily is to put those questions on a form, right? And then you can ask them, hey, in order for me to best serve you, to get the information that I need in order to give you the best recommendations, would you take a couple minutes and fill out a quick form for me? This will allow me to, serve you better, right? So it doesn't feel awkward or weird if you set the stage of why you are wanting them to fill out the form, right? So super important there to gather information from them, okay? Second thing I wanted to just follow up on that she mentioned is sales tips depending on who, what their personality code is. I have a post inside of Create Success. If you haven't seen it yet, I can send it to you. It's on sales tips depending on what their personality code is. I know not everybody uses the methodology that we use in sales. And so I did give as much as I could inside of that post. There's a video there. Paula, who's not on tonight, she actually did a video to show how to find the answer to the pending member questions inside of the group. So you can see if someone's a nurture, a knowledge, a blueprint action type person. And then, okay, if they're that type of code, how do I speak to them? What is it that they need? So if you haven't seen that post, send me a message in Messenger. Okay, I'm going to say that. And for everybody that watches the replay as well, send me a message in Messenger and just say, send me information on sales tips for the personality codes. Okay. And I'll grab that post from Create Success. And I'll send it over to you so you have that reference because you can use that inside of the events. That's how my events are different than anybody else's events. Nobody else uses this methodology inside of their events. And I've set it up in a way that without you actually having a subscription access to this tool like Janet and I do and a few others do, that you can use it to a minimal capacity, right, to help you at some level because it truly does make a difference. As you can see, she's referenced it a few times, in the training tonight. So if you want that post that has those sales tips, just send me a private message. So Janet, was there anything else on your tracker that you wanted to mention?
I think that's it.
Awesome.
Yeah, I guess, you know what, so to put it all together with the tracker, the other thing that really helps with follow-up is that I can go through, not everybody's going to follow the progression, from me meeting them to making a sale in the same order. And what the tracker really helps with is to keep me organized so that I know, where somebody's jumping in, like maybe they didn't do the assessment, maybe I don't have, maybe I don't know what all their wellness goals are. Well, then when I'm following up with them, I can offer that later on. So, it's not always this like linear from, A to B to C progression. Sometimes people will, the process looks different, but at least when you have a tracker, you know exactly where they're at with it. And I highlight different sections that aren't filled out. Like I'll highlight everybody who I don't have their wellness assessment. Like there are just certain ways that I use the tracker so that when I'm sitting there and following up, and there are dates in the tracker too, and you can sort them by date so you can be very organized. And when you're sitting down, if you have 10 or 15 minutes to do follow-ups, sort it and see who's at the top of that, who you need to follow up with today. There's so many ways that you can use it. But being organized like that has helped tremendously. Like, I don't think that I am letting people slip through the cracks anymore. I'm not starting conversations with people and then letting them fall off. Like, I can actually follow up with people all the way through. And it's just been amazing.
Yes. What I tell my people is that if you really utilize your tracker, I confidently feel that you will triple your sales, because there's so many people that just fall through the cracks, right? But again, you have to use it, right? And so you have to do the follow-up, which is where most people can struggle. Who kind of struggles with follow-up? Maybe when you're supposed to follow up, what you need to say with follow up, right? Like your mindset around follow up and what you feel it means, right? So that's a huge piece that we coach on and support on, because follow up, without it, you're going to miss so many sales. And the tracker just really helps you remember where people are at in your funnel. Janet, is there anything else that you want to share as far as like closing the sales in the event? And also maybe just quickly touching on the VIP group. A good goal is to get anybody that you connect with and communicate with inside of your VIP group. So do you have any tips on how they can transition people into their group?
Yeah, absolutely. So
window.
Oh, hold on, I gotta find the name. There we go. Okay, you're good.
So funneling people into my VIP group, I've been putting a lot more emphasis on that. And it really is the best. It's the best way for them to continue to learn about you and what you have without you having to continue to follow up in the DMs. Like, I don't know if anyone has felt like, you open up Messenger and you're like, oh, I've already reached out to them twice and they haven't replied. You don't have to keep messaging people when they're in your VIP group. It gives another opportunity to continue that relationship without you having, without it just being in Messenger. So I really like that. And I definitely put more focus on inviting people. And I use, like, when somebody makes a purchase, in the thank you post, which are bonus posts, I will put the link to my VIP group in there, because, people do need to see things several times. So I don't wait until the last day of the event to invite people to my VIP group. I'm kind of doing it throughout the event. And the same thing with my wellness assessment. It's something that I'll drop that link towards the beginning of the event. I'm going to share it in the middle and then again at the end. I share that link a couple times. And it also helps me build up my email list, which is a whole other training. But it helps in several different ways to really build that connection with somebody. Oh no, my little one.
I want you guys to drop any questions that you have in the chat. Otherwise, you can raise your virtual hand if you want to ask it. And I'll share with you guys my secret tip for getting people into your VIP group, where I'm usually able to get another 5, 8, 10 people in my group. So I usually do this towards the end of the event. So when there's, 1, 2, or 3 days left, whatever you feel is best, is I'll go back to the posts. Okay, every single post that I've done, and Janet actually mentioned this as well, that she goes back and she'll comment or ask questions. And honestly, just aside from my tip that I'm going to share with you, that is a good thing to do anyway, because going back, one, you're going to find people that commented that you missed, right? Because we miss notifications. But two, when you comment on these posts or reply to people on these posts, it's going to rebump your posts back up to the top. Okay. I purposely have these groups set where as people comment on posts, it bumps it back up. Some people don't like that I do that, but honestly, I feel that it's giving benefit to those that are following on how to do good posts to get comments, and then those that are replying to comments, and those that go back and connect on those posts, right? It's giving you the benefit that your post gets rebumped up, and it's not way back in the event from day one, and doesn't cycle through people's news feeds again, right? So I do that to honor people that are actually working the event. Okay. So what I do is towards the end of the event, I go back, and if somebody does appear slightly, interested or more, but yet, even if we were in Messenger, but maybe we didn't get into Messenger, I'll reply to the comment and I'll say, hey, Janet, I know that we didn't get a chance to really connect and, chat a little bit, about the products. If you're wanting to learn more, here's a link to my VIP group or my women's group that you can join. And I drop a link to my group right there within the comments, right? And honestly, I have a lot of people that join that way because they got busy. Like, I don't think of it as, oh, people aren't interested. I think of it as they got busy, they didn't see the notification, right? So I'm giving them yet another opportunity to say, hey, are you interested or not? Because guess what? When somebody joins your VIP group, what do you get to do? And some of you don't do this, but you get to now go message them in Messenger, right? And say, hey, thanks for joining my group. I appreciate you being here. Ask a question, okay? And then I drop a link to my group in Messenger with them as well, because I want them to have an easy way to find my group, because they are not going to remember the name of the group. I recently changed the name of my VIP group, and I have a hard time remembering what did I change the name to, right? Like, other people are not going to remember because they just joined a group. What is the name of your group? So I always make sure people have that in Messenger. And so when somebody joins, that's the first thing I do is I welcome them, ask a question, and drop a link to my group. And then I put them on my tracker, right? And then maybe go tag them in something in the group and welcome them into the group. So that's my little VIP hack to get more people in. And I tell you, it works. Okay. It works. So awesome. So again, drop any questions in the comments there. Raise your virtual hand if you want to come out and ask a question. Janet, was there anything else that you wanted to share with these ladies?
That is it. I covered every bullet point on my notes, unless you guys have a question. I mean, there are more things that I could talk about, but this this was all the notes that I had written down.
Awesome. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you guys a few things that can also help you if you're loving this training, if you're wanting more to continue to learn, because we don't know what we don't know, right? Until someone is able to share with us those things that make a difference. So being in a space of wanting to continue to grow and learn and personally develop is very, very important. So taking, on some of those opportunities that are out there. So thank you guys for being here and being open to learning. That is one of the things that has really you know, got Janet to where she is at today is she's been open, she's been coachable, and she implements, right? And exactly why I gave her the opportunity, you know, to come on and share, because she has done so well. Let's see, Carolyn's asking, what do you recommend about using your company name in your post? So I can share my insight on that. If Janet has something to add as well, you certainly can. So it's a yes and a no answer. There's reasons and why some posts you would and some posts that you wouldn't. And it's not really from a place of hiding what your company name is when you're not using it, right? The reason that I personally don't put it in many of my posts is because my posts, some of them, they don't market my product, right? My post will market the problem that my product solves, right? For example, and many of you probably know what my product is, but if you don't, I sell Ruby Ribbon. I sell bra replacements, okay? So one of my best posts is, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you hate bra shopping? Okay, you've probably all seen that post. I give it to my team. I have them use it because it works. Like Janet said, it is a very simple, easy question, right? But it's eliciting a response, a pain point that people are having that I know that I can fix, and they're not feeling sold to when they comment on the post, right? So when you do a post with your company graphics, with, you know, all your company information, and, you know, your question is like, PM me for information, or drop I'm ready, right? Like I'm ready means like I'm ready to buy, which, you know, who's going to comment that, right? um People can feel sold to, and they're afraid to comment because they're like, oh my gosh, they're going to jump on me and like try and get me to buy, right? So I do a lot of posts that do not have my company name because I don't post to sell, right? I post to connect. That's what I mean by post to connect. I'm asking questions of where, when they comment, right, I can gather more information and connect with them and then see if they're interested. So in reply to that question, and here I actually want you guys to do this. I want you to think of a question, and that is on a scale of 1 to 10, and then ask a question about your product, okay, of a problem that your product solves. I want you to put that in the comments of this Zoom, okay? I want you to drop that in here. I want you guys to think of that. I just want you to get thinking outside the box a little bit. And so what I then used is a picture of a department store bra area, right? And that is one of the most engaging posts that I use inside of the events, okay? So can you guys think of something on a scale of 1 to 10? Anybody want to share something that they've come up with? I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot, like, oh my gosh, I think I have to write a post tonight. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you hate cleaning your bathroom toilet? Who are my Norwigs people, right? Janet says, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your current energy level? That's awesome. Jen, on a scale of 1 to 10, how happy are your nails, or how happy are you with your nails? Because my nails are, I don't know if they're happy. I think they're happy. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you struggle with pain? So I want to say something about that. Sometimes people are afraid to comment on posts that put them in a space where they're sharing too much personal information, where especially around like weight and pain and things that anxiety, mood, right? So you may want to just kind of, you know, keep that in mind. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your current skincare regimen? Awesome. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you struggle with frizzy hair? How much do you struggle with removing your eye makeup? Good. I want you guys to play around with that. Okay. And then think of a graphic that is not a company graphic that you could post with that. Or if anything, just use a colored background that Facebook will give you and just put it in that. Okay. Another one could be how many days a week how many days a week do you wear makeup? How many days a week do you put on a new set of nails? How many days a week do you wash your floor? Okay, so think of that one. How many days a week? Okay, so think of different questions that you can create that don't require putting your company name where you're not feeling like you're selling to them. Okay, if you're doing more informational posts, which are okay at times, right? We have our knowledge people that want more information. Like Janet said, still add a question at the top. The first 3 days of an event, I highly recommend making them your best posts ever, your most engaging posts, which are these ones right here, because the group is going to be more active in the beginning. Okay. After day 3 or 4, right? People aren't seeing as much in there. They're not as excited because it's not as fresh and new and fun, right? So that can be more your informational posts. And then those that you connected with on the event about different things, you could go over here and say, hey, Carolyn, I know that we've been connecting about your nails. Check out this post. You might like to read this testimony or see this information, right? If you're in communication with somebody, it's okay to tag them on a post to give them more information, right? And so I use that in the second half of the event. Okay. Awesome. Is this helpful for you guys? I can't wait to see some of these posts in the group.
So I
Janet, go
can I
ahead.
add something just about company name and things like that? So
Yep.
I will tell you, if you're talking about your product, please share your company name though on those posts, because I have scrolled through events and been like, that product sounds great. What company, like what brand is this? And in that particular post didn't have it. And I found myself just scrolling by because I didn't, it's like I wasn't really quite sure what the product was or what the company was. And one tip that I do on mine when I am sharing about a specific product is I will do hashtag my company name at the bottom of the post. And the reason why I do that, and I'll do it consistently through all the posts that if somebody were to search my company name in the event, then all my posts populate and they can just scroll through everything that I've posted. And I will do that search and I grab the URL at the top of the screen and I'll drop it in. Tiffany has a really great post that she does with each of the vendors' name as a graphic. And you can share all of your posts and different information on that one post. And I'll take like the search of my company name and I grab the URL and I drop it on that post so that when somebody wants to learn more about my company, they can click one link and then they can scroll through basically all my event posts all in one place. And I've just find it really easy that way. It also helps me when I'm going back to comment on my posts because I can just search my hashtag and see all my stuff. And then, at night when I'm going through and making sure I've commented on everything, then I can just scroll my posts and it makes it easier for me to follow up and, be commenting. Facebook does not give me notifications on every post that somebody comments on. I miss a lot. Like they just don't, I don't know. Facebook is rough sometimes and they just don't want to do a notification for every single thing. So I do have to find little tips and tricks to be more thorough, to be able to go back to my post and be able to comment on it. So, doing a hashtag with like your company name or whatever, tag word that you want to use, that's what I do so I can find all my stuff.
Awesome. Love it. Love it. That was a good question, Carolyn. Thank you for asking that. All right. So every single month, I do a free sales masterclass. Janet referenced it a couple times, and that's really what got us connected and doing more together was having her on there. In that masterclass, we talk about goal setting, reverse engineering your goals. We talk about tracking. You're going to get access to my tracker for being on the masterclass. And then we're going to be talking about connecting and closing sales. And we do reference the personality science tool inside of that training. So if you want some training, more specifically on that to get some sales tips, per the personalities, you would want to hop on that training. It's a 3-hour masterclass. Okay. It does not cost anything to do. But we do it because we want to give you guys the value of what you need to have success in your business as a whole, not just these events, but a lot of things that we taught here. And then obviously in that masterclass, can be used outside of these events. We host them monthly. The next one is November 2nd. It's a Saturday. It's from 10 to 1 Central. Okay. If anybody's watching the replay and it's past November 2nd, just reach out to me, or if you want the November 2nd one, just send me a private message in Facebook Messenger and just say you want the next date for the sales masterclass, and I'll get you access to that. You can invite your teams to it as well. Okay, so we have that opportunity to continue to learn more. What I do want to offer everybody is I don't know if you've seen it in Create Success, but I want to give everybody the opportunity to get one of my events for $10. It's 50% off the normal price to getting an event. And the only thing that I ask to get an event for $10 is you complete my fundamentals assessment. It's 10 questions. Okay. And the 10 questions are the 10 skill set areas that I feel are important for your business to have success. And basically what you're going to do is you're going to rate on a scale of 1 to 10 each of those 10 areas, and then you're going to write a goal around what do you want to do to increase that number. So I'm really trying to make you aware of the things that we should be working on inside of our business, writing goals to it. And then at the bottom, there's a spot to write 3 long-term goals. Now, there's something I want to quick say about goals. And for the ladies that are in my coaching academy, a few of you are on here. You probably heard me say this in the training. And I see this with every single assessment coming in, is that if I had to rate your goal writing assessments, like your ability, to write goals for your business, I would rate it a D-. Okay. I was kind of blown away by how much of a struggle it is to actually write goals. Now, I too was like, goal writing, like whatever. I know what I want to do. I know what I want to achieve, right? But it's not until you can actually write, and I hate like SMART goals. Like something for me, it's like, okay, SMART goal, like I get it, right? Like on how to write it. But it is so important, you guys. It is so important to actually write these goals down. It's so important that it is something I do every morning. I will show you. This is my planner if you guys have not seen it. In my planner, it's a goal setting planner as well as a tracker. Every single day, I write my goals. Every single day, you guys. If you don't have goals and you don't know exactly what they are and what you want to achieve, you have no idea where you're going and when you're going to hit it and how to hit it. Because once you know your goal, if it is specific enough, you can reverse engineer it, right? And we talk about that on the sales masterclass. You can reverse engineer it, and now you can break down that goal, right, into smaller goals. And it is so, so important because if you don't have goals, you can't track your way to achieving it. And most people don't track in their business because they've never been taught to, right? We don't know what we don't know. And so we don't write the right goals to track so we can achieve it, which is why we don't achieve our goals. Okay, is because we don't have the right goal. Like I just worked with somebody on a call. I can't remember when this was. Was it today or yesterday? I don't even remember. But she had a goal. Okay. And so once we reverse engineered her goal was not even achievable. Like she wanted to make a certain amount of money. And once we figured out what she had to do to get there, with how much time that she wanted to work her business, there was no way she was going to reach it. So she was trying to reach something that was not even reachable, and she's just going to keep getting upset and frustrated and overwhelmed, right? And so you can't just throw a goal out there. You really, truly have to know it and understand and reverse engineer it to know, is it actually even possible? Okay. So when you complete this assessment, I want you to actually think about your goals, okay? And not just plop something on there like, I want more customers, right? That's a goal that I get from a lot of people. I want more customers. Like, okay, like how many more? By when, right? And so then we can figure out what's the actual activity that we need to do in order to get there. Because most of us don't know what activity to do in our business every single day. And we don't know because we don't have a goal that we're trying to achieve, right? Okay. So if you want the fundamentals assessment, you want a $10 event, just send me a private message. I will honor this as far as out as anybody, you get it one time, right? Complete the assessment, get a $10 event. I will have this forever for anybody that wants to complete it. So if you're watching this replay, right, and it's been 6 months, ask me for the assessment and a $10 event, and I'll send that over to you. Okay. So there's that. I wanted to give you guys that opportunity. And then here's a short kind of time frame goal. So if people are watching this past October 20th, this would not be available. This is something for you guys being on. So I created an online event certification. I'm actually going to pull it up because I don't want to misspeak on some of the details of it. So what this is it's basically training, almost like tonight, right? On different topics of kind of overall, what it is to have success in an event, how to post in an event, and how to connect and close sales in an event. So I basically put it into like a digital resource library where you log in to have access to it. Okay. I think it takes about 2.5 hours to watch all of the training. And once you watch that, pulling it up here. Once you watch it, you will have, hold on. Just want to make sure I say this right. So you get lifetime access to the training. You get access to my tracker that way as well, if you want that, with the training that goes with the tracker. Okay. Assessment. As soon as you complete the 3 trainings and you show me a certificate, you'll get a certificate. Once you click that, you watch them, okay? And you send me that certificate. All of your online events moving forward will be $15 instead of $20, okay? And the reason that I'm doing that is because I want to give you the right way on how to have success, right? And if you're going to take the time and actually get your invites and do your posts right, get results, right? Like I want to honor you for that. Okay. And you only need 15 invites instead of 20. Okay. Because again, you're taking the time to invest in yourself, to learn and to grow. Okay. And then you guys probably know I recommend 1 event per month because you can exhaust your network, right? You can overwhelm yourself by doing too many. But if you complete the certification, I did see in the comments, some of you do 2 events per month. If you wanted to do 2 a month, I would let you do that after you complete the certification, just because, again, you have the training to help support you in having success, okay? So there is a cost to the event certification, but I'm going to give you guys a discount through the 20th, so 1 week, okay? So I'll give you 10% off, okay? It's $79 to take the event certification. And in the long run, this helps you, right? Because you're saving money with the events, okay? So it's going to pay for itself over time, okay? But you can add on as a bonus at that, only at that time of grabbing the event certification, that you can book 6 events, okay? And those 6 events, you'll only need 10 invites versus 15. Okay, so a little encouragement to book out 6 months or 3 months if you do 2 in a month. And so that whole bundle is $169 for the certification and the 6 events, but I'll give you 10% off of that through the 20th. I have a document that explains this. It's all written out. If you want that, just say, private message me again, event certification information, okay? But if people are watching the replay of this, the 10% off is only through October 20th of 2024, okay? So there's that. So that is what I wanted to share with you guys, offer for you for taking the time to be on tonight or watch the replay in the next 7 days here. A little extra bonus for you there. So any other questions that you guys have before we sign off tonight? All good. Awesome. Well, thanks guys for being here. If you have any questions after this, or if you feel like, man, I'm just not having success in the events, reach out to me. I'm here to support you. I'm going to help you in that and get the results that you're looking for. Okay. And thank you, Janet. Appreciate you. Amazing, amazing. You did a great job. So,
You're
all right.
welcome. Thank you for having me on.
Yes. All right. See you guys later. Bye.